Alright, hello. Happy Valentine's Day. Just wanted to jump on here. I'm not going to be long. There'll probably not be another live stream till maybe Sunday night if I can swing it. The best laid plans of mice and men. So, just wanted to jump on real quick. I don't expect there to be much of a live stream here. But I wanted to get on and just talk for a minute about all of the little things that are going on all at once, as we will be going to the Unity Rally this Saturday down in Loganville, Georgia. And if you can make it, I'd like to see you there. You can always reach out to me for more details about it. It's posted everywhere. It should be a good event. We're going to go down there and hang out and fellowship and just have a good time and meet people, interact with people, hook up with people, just keep things going. So the Unity Rally down in Loganville, Georgia, I'm looking real forward to being able to hang out with some of my friends, some of the good patriots, and learn some things and share some things. And I urge anybody that can make it to go. It's about 2 hours away from where we're at. We're going to go down there and make a day of it, and we'll have some stuff to sell and stuff to share and just have a good time down there. The weather looks like it's going to be good, so if you can make it out, go to Mac McGregor's page, Lucretia Hughes. There's several people that are posting it and have all the information. I have all the information. You can go back and look at our stuff. So I just want to talk real quick about all the things that are going on all at once, right? The chaos that is just going on, ensuing. Real quick, a lot of people I've seen posted. I was actually going to make some videos of the House Oversight Committee that is investigating Twitter, the Yoel Roth and one of the lawyers from Twitter, several people, and our 14th District Representative is there on that committee, and it's some real firebrand stuff. I've been watching the videos, and I've seen a lot of people posting them, so that's really cool. That just means I don't have to make a video about it, because we are seeing what's going on. We're watching these Oversight Committee hearings, and we're seeing the absolute rampant lies from these ex-Twitter execs who are just trying in every way, shape, and form to deceive and just to walk around the questions. And even after they ask the questions, they say, oh no, and then they post, they bring up their signs and say, well, this is your tweet, just dead right out lying, So it's really good to see people sharing that stuff and moving it around where everybody can see it, because obviously Fox News is probably going to cover it, and you're going to have OAN, Newsmax, that kind of thing, but it's not making it, of course, to the mainstream media. And it all goes back to the Biden administration, and it goes back to the Democrat National Committee, the DNC, and it just shows the rampant lies and the deceit and the First Amendment being completely trampled on. So glad to see that going, but that's something that's going on right now. Talking about the Hunter Biden laptop story, talking about how they were censoring conservative voices and shadow banning people and all these other things. So great to see that. We have balloons in the sky, at least 4 that have been shot down. NORAD is on high alert. They're going crazy, and this, according to everything that I'm viewing and seeing, this is the first time, I don't know whether in history, but this is the first time that our NORAD and military defense have actually shot things down over our skies. So that's a big thing. It's a big deal. And it's also a big deal of how these balloon stories are just being pushed out to the mainstream media. But then we'll cover that just a little bit more. We have a train derailment that happened 10 days ago now in Palestine, Ohio, that I think 50 rail cars were derailed, and then 15 of them were on fire, and now we're learning it was a controlled burn, and there were several chemicals, at least 4 major chemicals, carcinogens, that were released into the atmosphere. A big plume-like cloud that looked like a nuclear cloud, all kinds of nasty things going into the air, and it is moving. It's moving, and it affected at least a 500-mile radius, and we're finding out more and more every day. The video was released last night of the train car that one of the axles were on fire 20 miles outside of this town, and then it derailed in this town. We're, of course, hearing about more train derailments, and which is not an uncommon thing, but it's just funny how all this is being pushed now, and how the train derailments are being highlighted, but Ohio, this major catastrophe up in Ohio, is just kind of being ignored by our transportation committee, by our president, by so many people. So that's one thing that's going on. We have Project Bluebeam that's going around everywhere. Nord Stream pipeline, the gentleman, which I didn't write his name down, who wrote the op-ed saying that our administration was responsible for blowing up Nord Stream pipeline. And inflation, which is being still being ignored by our government and our Federal Reserve and our central bank. And we have stories coming out about digital currency. We see more and more stories about artificial intelligence. And why did they roll these things out? They rolled these things out, a couple of months ago. All of a sudden now you're seeing Microsoft's Bing, you're seeing Google bringing out their Google Bard. You're seeing all of these search engines that we already have problems with that are now integrating these chat AI systems in as their search engines. So if you went back last week and you looked at the video that I brought up about ChatGPT and the workaround, I strongly suggest you watch it. It's called the Dan workaround, the Do Anything Now. You'll see how controlled this artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, and all these systems are, and it's amazing to me. Even though they want to talk about sentientism and all these things, you can see how they're vastly controlled, and they have the narratives. They know the information, but they're not going to share it with you. There's all these weird workarounds. So there's a lot of stuff hitting us all at once. And you have to understand that this is kind of a controlled chaos theory. This is my opinion anyway, that for starters, it was crazy to me. I've known about Project Bluebeam for a long time. Anybody that we're tinfoil hatters and you go down these rabbit holes, you know about Operation Paperclip, you know about MK Ultra, and you learn things about like Project Bluebeam and all this stuff. And I find it very fascinating how quickly that Project Bluebeam started to spread after these UFOs were being shot down over our airspace and Canada's airspace, and now China's saying that we're flying things in their airspace. It's a big, crazy situation, right? So I don't disavow Project Bluebeam. I mean, it's great to do some research on it and find out what they can do with the UFO theory, and how they can take this information and kind of create this narrative where people can get behind. Even if you look on the History Channel and you look in other places where 20 years ago, if you talked about UFOs, you were one of those crackpot crazies, and now you on TV they have actual shows dedicated to people that are actually searching for Bigfoot and UFOs, blah blah blah. So it's almost like a narrative that's just being warmed up to the people. It's kind of crazy to me, but I don't think that this is Project Bluebeam. I think that Project Bluebeam is being sent out as a controlled narrative because we are in World War III and things are really, really ramping up, and I think the government is trying very hard not to panic people, and I believe that they're trying to keep everyone's eyes off of what's going on in Russia, what's really happening with China, what's going on in the back channel. So that's my opinion. I believe that Bluebeam is running cover for the government. I believe that they're honestly probably scared, and that these balloons are actually things that are being flown over as tests from other countries to see what they can get away with, what they can do. A week and a half ago, it was complete conspiracy theory that there were green lasers that came down around Hawaii, and then now we saw the video, and now we know, and NASA's involved in saying, hey, this is not us, and supposedly they're tracing it back to a Chinese satellite. So there's a lot of stuff going on that we don't know about, and when something is so eagerly out there in the media, I have to question it, and I'll get to you in just a second about that. I haven't yet But this Project Bluebeam was pushed out way too quickly for all of this, for my comfort. And I'm not saying that it can't be. I'm not saying that the government's not using it. What I'm saying is that I believe it is being used in a way to keep people from really seeing what's really going on. The fact that we are, according to, and I can't remember the website because this is a quick one, but we're around DEFCON 2, which means that, we're just closer to some sort of nuclear situation than we've ever been, okay? So I believe that the government is just losing control of all the narratives, and it's happening quickly. We see Twitter. We see how effective that Twitter's been in kind of freeing up speech. We're seeing now that we have control of some semblance of government who's actually, maybe they're not going to be able to hold these people accountable and put them in jail and charge them, but we're seeing that they're pushing back against all the lies. And I think that they're so out of control with these narratives, because we have this, like I said, this big train derailment in Ohio, and Pete Buttigieg, or whatever his name is, he's not talking about it. The media is not really talking about it. We're getting bits and pieces of information after 10 days of a huge carcinogenic mushroom cloud, if you've seen the pictures, and nobody is talking about this. And it's pretty crazy. We're kind of looking up at balloons in the sky, and I believe that these balloons are probably some sort of China, somebody that's pushing these things around, that's like really testing the waters of our military and what we're going to do, because we have such a weak administration. We have such a our culture is so degenerated that, these other countries are just looking at us and probably scratching their heads like, how do we get to this point? Well, it's easy. If you go back in history and you look at how we got to this point, and you look at how, strong time or weak times create strong men, strong times create weak men. I'm rambling here because I'm trying to finish up. But I think they've lost control of the narratives, and the reason why I'm coming to you now is because I just want everybody in this community to understand that now is a time of preparation. Now is the time of people are asking me, texting me, I kind of see what's going on now. What can I do? Well, you can't do anything about these situations, but what you can do is you can prepare yourself, right? You can make sure that you have food, and that you have water, that you have shelter, that you have tools to protect you, that you're talking with people in your community, that you have plans in place. Because I drove around all morning. I had to go to the dump, and I'm driving around these back roads. I haven't been down a long time, and I'm listening to this stuff, that's the very same stuff I'm talking about, and I'm driving down the road, and I almost felt like I was in a different country. I felt like I was in a whole different country, and I was hearing about another country, because these things are fairly non-existent here where we live. But it's when, look at it like this: if a situation occurs and martial law or some SHTF situation, there's going to be runs on the grocery stores and the food, and like snow, everybody's going to go get milk and bread, and the people who are prepared won't be there. The people who are prepared for anything, they won't have to be in the middle of that chaos, They won't have to be in the middle of that. They will already have what they need to stay out of the situations that could cause potential harm and get them in trouble. So I'm not trying to be doom and gloom. I'm highlighting all of these things that are going on at one time, and it's a controlled chaos. It's a controlled chaos. We're getting bombarded and hit with all these things, and then you look at our culture, like last week it was the Grammys, which was just nasty. I mean, absolutely nasty. And now, this week, the Super Bowl and halftime, and it was just nasty. And, I didn't even watch it, but I saw clips, and I'm like, this is insane that this is passing as entertainment, But like I said, it is what it is, and all of these things have a more purpose. None of this stuff is coincidental. Every bit of that was planned, and you can go down the rabbit holes about it being, is it symbology? Is it something more? Well, yeah, I believe it is. I believe that this is ritualistic, and More and more evidence points to it every single day. So there's not a lot you can do. But more and more my family, people in my family ask me, well, this is a lot of stuff. What are you supposed to do? And I'm like, you're not supposed to do anything that you can't control. You remember the serenity prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. The difference is that we're talking here. The difference is that we're communicating on our social medias and on our messages. The difference is that we know that these things are going on. We know that they're all happening at once. We know that these are wild goose chases, and we know that the bigger picture is that the world is just in a war right now, and it's only going to be a matter of time before America is in this thing kinetically, in this thing. I mean, we're already in it up to our necks, and we have literally no representation. We have no government that is there for us. So what do? Well, we become self-sufficient in a lot of ways while we have the chance. We take matters into our own hands. We make sure that we have food. We make sure that we have water. We make sure that we have good rapport with our communities. We make sure that our law enforcement is doing the right things and that they're on our side. We continue to support each other, and we continue to live and have fun. And do what we can now while we have the chance, but don't be caught, behind that line of, I should have done this 6 months ago, because it just won't work. And I feel like we're kind of running out of time, because so many things are happening, and it's hard to keep track of, but it just is the way it is. And maybe this will all blow over. Maybe I'm just a doomer and gloomer. But I just don't see an end to this, especially though you're not being told anything about Russia right now and the huge offensive that they just went on. We're not hearing any of this information. Nobody will rule out UFOs, or they'll tell us anything about these balloons or whatever they are, these unidentified objects. The government is they're not communicating with the people, but it's on purpose, all right? I think that if you go into Project Bluebeam and you look at some of the things that's out now, you're going to kind of realize that this is a perfect cover-up for the government to blame an entity that we can't see or hear or know anything about, and they can just project all this stuff away from the fact that we have a failing administration. We're in it up to our necks in the World War, and things are just going to change exponentially. We know this. So that's really all I wanted to say, was that I wouldn't freak out about any of this stuff, because you've got a life to live, you've got jobs, you've got children, you've got families. Just continue to strengthen your bonds with your community, with your families, and do what you can. The next time you're at the store, just pick up a little extra canned food, pick up some water. That way you won't have to be dependent on anybody else for anything. You won't have to be in the middle when the normal people, the people that think that we're crazy, the people that think that, they don't, this is just the sky's falling crap, you won't have to be in that situation, and you've lost nothing to do it. You've lost absolutely nothing. You've got extra food and extra water that you can eat and drink anytime that you want. I'm just telling you, as this community, I believe, because I feel like that I'm looking at these things and I'm living in a whole different country, They're not affecting me. They're not around me where I live and grow up. I can still pull into a convenience store, leave my car running, and walk inside and go. It's crazy to me. But as all of these things happen and continue to kind of spiral, more and more people are going to go kind of crazy. And you're going to see more crime. You're already seeing more crime. You're seeing all of these things. It's going to be pushed in our faces, So I'm telling the community, prepare. Just prepare, and you don't have to go out and buy a $5,000 generator, worry about all that stuff, but anything that you can do, if you can get candles, I always tell everybody water is the one. Look at Ohio right now. I bet a lot of people, their water supplies are affected. There's fish dying, frogs dying. I bet a lot of those people wish they had a little bit of water, and some of them probably do, but you just never know what can happen. You always got to be ready. A lot of you folks remember 1993, the great snowstorm in 93. Ever since I was a kid, we went for almost 3 days with nothing. I had to sleep at a neighbor's house. And from a child, I've always took that experience like I want to be prepared. And some people make fun of me, but, I don't ever have to worry about going to the places where the population is at in a panic, because I have what I need. So That's just what I'm trying to say. Remember, these are all narratives. It's no coincidence. They're losing control of the narrative, and they want to keep everybody's eyes off the prize. And the prize is that, like it or not, we're in World War III, and it's only a matter of time before America is in it over their head. And that's the way it is, and it's the way it's going to be. There's a lot you can do. But you can live, you can have fun, you can continue to do things. Like I said, I'm going to this Unity rally on Saturday. I'm going to have a great time. And I'm not going to worry about anything, but it's too much going on to break down. But there's a lot of great videos. And also, I hope everybody here is paying attention to the YouTube channel with the Tucker Carlson shorts. I mean, Tucker Carlson is he's a national freaking hero. He lays things down so obviously, so logically, and it's mainstream that if you're not a part of his channel or you're not getting his 20-minute clips, you really need to, because it's just great information, and it's not information that would be considered fringe like some of the stuff we share here. It's just straight up. He's probably one of the best investigative journalists you could ever ask for. So I hope everybody's paying attention. He had a really good one last night, or I watched today about Ohio, and it breaks things down real easy. So I will cover these comments, and I'm getting off here. Tyler said, I missed it. Did you talk about the Epstein docs? I did not talk about the Epstein docs. I haven't looked at them yet. I got them sent to me a couple hours ago. The court docs, because the person that sent them to me thought that the list was going to be released, and I said, well, I haven't heard anything about it. And then he sent it to me, said this is just the court doc list, which, let me see here, I have real quick. Let me just double check. And no, I have not looked at it yet. Apparently it's from 2019, 2,000-page Jeffrey Epstein court docs just dropped. So that's something I'm going to look into. Tyler, we are under attack. Them violating our airspace is a direct act of war. He's absolutely right. You're right. This has not happened in the history of the U.S., and they are trying to run cover with Project Blue Beam and all these other things to make you think that it's aliens, when this is directly a part of the conflict, the world conflict that is going on right now. So just remember that. It's not Project Blue Beam. This is a perfect cover for the government. All right? We're right there at the cusp. Tyler says, I wonder if the first big balloon went over that area of Ohio. Who knows? Who knows? I've seen several different trajectories. I don't know. And then all of a sudden, everybody was being made fun of for talking about this balloon, and now we've had four that's been shot down. So, there's still a lot we don't know about. Tyler says, I do the same thing on the weekend, take a drive and listen to reliable intel. Absolutely right, man. Like I said, I drove this morning, which I do drive a lot, but it's been so busy for me lately, I haven't. But I feel like I'm in a different country when I'm driving down the road. It's just because these things are not happening, here. And, all right, small town. Tyler says, you and I need to do some vids on prepping on a budget. How's that a lifestyle change that will have you ready for disasters? You're right. I thought about doing. I would love to do some prepping videos. I'm telling you right now, man, you can Dollar Tree prep, and you can be way ahead of so many people just by Dollar Tree prepping. So you can do it on a budget. You don't have to have all this fancy stuff. I'm telling you, all you got to do is make a list. In fact, the Dollar Tree used to, a long time ago, they used to have a list of 100 items for emergency situations. And but it's so easy. I'll give everybody a website if they want to look at it. I've been following this website for years, but it's called backdoorsurvival.com. I love the website. It's great information. It breaks down all kinds of stuff. I know I'm not affiliated with them, but it's called backdoorsurvival.com, and it's one of my favorites. But there's several out there. So Jennifer Tudor says, some of us are looking for this very thing. Absolutely. And you know what? We've talked about it. Jennifer and I've talked about it. We've done some things in some previous groups about first aid and bug out bags and all this kind of stuff. It's something, I'm going to be honest with you. I said I'm transparent. I don't talk a lot about prepping because I try to keep my eyes private, But at this point there's so much information out there that I mean, it's your own fault if you're not ready, because I've got people that are like, I've been talking to for a year. I kind of see what you're talking about. And I'm like, look, man, it's nothing. We're going to keep living, but just get prepared, man. Go get a few cases of water and throw them up in the closet and put a blanket over them. That way you got some water to drink. You cannot survive without water. So there's 2 other trains derailed this week. Yes. Actually, I think there's been 4, but Jennifer, watch that Tucker Carlson video. I'll send it to you. It's the latest one. It's pretty good. It deals with this stuff, but it put it in perspective for me anyway this morning. So never mind. I thought you were talking about prepping for the financial change that's coming. Oh, I am. Yeah. That's another thing that we need to prep for. More and more people are talking about digital currency and what happens for digital currency. Well, we might cover that at some point, but it's not about the transition to digital currency. It's the power that will be, who will be in control of that digital currency, who will be able to tell you how to spend your money, right? Let's say you want to prep for something. Let's say you want to buy something that you can use later down the road. What if you're denied that because of digital currency? Because that's on a list of something that you can't buy. So that's what's the most concerning. I mean, we're already halfway to a digital currency in the first place. Jennifer says, I am prepped as best I can be, but the change to the dollar has me wondering what to do. Amen. It has me wondering what to do, too. I'm keeping a close eye on this. I have very close people to me that are in the financial institutions, that are in the banking, and they're telling me not to worry. They're telling me not to worry right now, that it's not going to happen for quite some time, and yet I turn on the TV or the news, and it tells me, hey, next week we're going to be discussing this, so who knows. But Tyler, invest in tangible assets, physical things that will be of value in a digital world. I did a podcast EP called Hope. Tyler, you should share that, and we reshare that here so we can spread that information out. But thank you. I didn't expect to have anybody on here so early. I appreciate y'all. I'm on a time schedule, so I have to run. But I will be at the Unity Rally on Sunday. And I just wanted to do a quick one because I wasn't able to last night. And I probably won't get back on until Sunday night. And I hope everybody out there is doing good. And don't let all this stuff affect you. Don't let all of these things bring you down, because you're living in one of the best places around. And we're in this together. So just remember that. And I'm always here, and I'm always willing, and we should cover a lot more of this in the future. Prepping and just doing things just to better yourself and better your surroundings and better your chances to not have to be in any situations that could get you in harm's way. So let's see here. Make sure I didn't miss lunch break. Yeah, I know, this is crazy. But anyway, listen, I gotta run. You guys have I hope everybody's having a good Valentine's Day, and go kiss your sweetheart and just have a good day. And we'll just keep an eye on everything, and I'll see you guys in a few days.